All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back to the shop. I've been working, but I've also been working on my car. The turbo is off. Now, I'm going to show you guys a comparison between the Precision and the new Garrett GTX3584RS. All right, you guys can see, turbo's off. Let's check out the differences between the two turbos. All right, so right away you can see the Garrett is slightly shorter because it's a slightly more compact setup, probably due to the fact that it's ball bearing. It doesn't need quite as much surface area for the lubrication. This is my PTE6262 billet journal bearing, and it is just barely taller. So one of the big things that I noticed, the Garrett has single blades in here, and the Precision, still being billet and very blue, is actually double bladed. So you can see down in there, you've got two sets of blades. You've got the first outer set that are a little bit longer, and then down in there, there's another set of blades. This turbo's been great for me. Also, you can see that is an OCD Works T51R mod. That's what makes this thing sound so insane. Yeah, so being a journal bearing, it's going to spool slightly slower. It's a lot easier to rebuild, much more cost effective, and that's kind of where my head was at the time. When I first got the car going, I obviously wanted to put a single turbo on the 1J that was originally in the car. So this was the answer. It was barely laggy. We'll say the slightest bit laggy on the 6262 on a stock, bone stock 1J. It made 520 wheel horsepower on ethanol. So fast forward to now, it's a 1.5J, which means it's a 3-liter now. This thing lit off so fast and hard. It's also got cams in it now, so that's very helpful. This guy has been great. Let's talk more about this guy. This thing, ball bearing. Check that out. Absolutely amazing. Never been run. You can see it's got the tile exhaust housing on it. This is just a mock-up housing because I am still waiting for my, I guess, final production dude. This one I had to clearance for, you can see it, you can kind of hear, like if I rotate this thing just right, it's not quite right. There you go. I did have to clearance this because the RS exhaust wheel is built a little bit different than the standard 3582. So this is a standard 3582 exhaust housing, and they sent it to me for mock-up and said that I could modify it as needed because it actually was blemished. It had some issues that didn't pass their screening for customers. So they make sure that their stuff is top-notch before it goes out to customers. So another big difference between a Garrett and the Precision is that the center section is water-cooled. This allows for adequate cooling at all times of the center section. That's a big deal on a car that gets as hot as my car does. Coolant temperatures don't get hot, but EGTs and stuff like that stay up, which obviously the exhaust is right here. So when you're just using the oil to cool the center section, it works fine, but you have to be very, very smart about how you do everything. Now on this, you still have to be smart, but at least you have the extra cooling for the center section to keep everything nice and proper. So yeah, I guess the next thing we need to do is, you can see the exhaust housing's loose for the center section, but I need to get this loosened up so that everything moves around and we can get a test fit in the car. So that'll be great. That's next. All right, so one other thing that I kind of forgot to mention was, you see where I welded this little cast aluminum 90 on here. Normally, this thing would just get a like coupler with a clamp. The Garrett actually has an outlet V-band built onto it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually keep this. I've really considered doing that so that there's a little bit of rotation here to make everything fit really nice. But I got a feeling I'm going to have to put another one of these guys on here, which would mean that I just need to cut this off. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like in the car. Alright, so you can see it's all nasty, but this is the OCD Works extended oil drain. A lot of Supra and SC 2J type manifolds have runners that kind of get in the way of actually tightening your oil drain. Well, I figured I'm going to have to do that again on this guy. But it's different. So I contacted the guys at OCD Works because that's been a great mod that I came across. However, they are back ordered for quite a while, which stinks, but luckily ATP Turbo offers something very similar, kinda. So you see that's all one piece. I'll have to make one. So weld bung for a -10, same size inside here. So that is one option, is to do that. The other option is to go with this guy right here, which has 1/2" NPT like pipe thread. So I can do that and then make some sort of deal, but you kind of run into the same situation. You just really can't get anything tightened up when you use these guys. I had this guy with a gasket. This one, it has an O-ring on it. So I think that I'm gonna weld these guys together and basically make one of those. Obviously I would have rather have just bought another one of those, but when things are out of stock and back ordered and with no ETA, this is what you do. Make things work. So probably weld that up. And yeah, probably end up using this. Alright, one other thing that we need to talk about is the exhaust housings. You can see they're both V-band. They both have a little lip on the inside to center them. And they both look very, very close to being the same size. However, there are some very subtle changes, of course. So this guy, you see how thin this ring is here? This is the ring that centers everything. This would be like the male side, and that's the female. This is for the tile. Now, the precision is this one. You can see it's a little bit fatter, and this is what's installed on the car. Well, this works on that, but that does not work on that. It's kind of a bummer. Does not lock. Barely, just a little bit of movement. A little bit more movement, but it would have worked. Just not here. This one fits nice and tight on there. Does not work. One good thing is this is a tile outlet flange. That does work on that, which means that downpipe flange, so the outlet, works on the tile. One thing, so 2 V-band flanges, inlet, outlet. Thankfully, one of them works. And I was planning to build a manifold anyways, so I guess course, I need to pull the exhaust manifold off as well. Well, since those things don't actually work, I guess I'm going to have to pull the exhaust manifold off. I have everything to build a manifold. I was just kind of trying to not and just fix this one last time to just save some time. Alright, so Ryan pushed me a little bit to drive. Next week is Riverside Round 2. It's a night event. And I'm going to try my hardest today to get the new turbo on. The exhaust housing is supposed to be here today. It's showing up at work, so I will go get that as soon as it's here. But there's some stuff that I need to do to get it to work on my manifold, and for the oil lines to work, and the charge pipes to work. Yeah, it's a lot. I have a few hours. I'm going to try to get it all done. I'll give you guys updates as I do them. I'm not going to film it, each little individual thing. I will give you updates as I get them done. So, yeah, on to that. Wish me luck. Alright guys, so I started out using this, just trying to take the little lip off and take it down. However, I realized after 2 or 3 times around, it didn't matter if I took that lip down to be as thin as a piece of paper, because basically that lip collides right in to the new exhaust housing, no matter what I did. So, I ended up with this. And off the lip came. Alright, so basically what I ended up having to do is completely take the lip off of that. I did everything I could to not touch the sealing surface with the sander, so that I didn't give it in like an irregular surface. So you can see that little receiving groove in there. It's not going to have that anymore. So we're going to rely on the clamp. It's just one event. Going to kind of send it just so I can get some driving in before the baby. Then the car is going to come completely apart. That manifold's not getting used anymore. I've got everything to build the manifold. So yeah, I guess we need to get this thing clamped on, put the new turbo in there, and see if we can figure out the drain. Alright, I've been working on trying to get this guy as flat as possible without taking the manifold off. A really good trick is to use a nice long file. They are typically extremely flat, and if you take your time, you can get a nice flat surface. It's still a little bit rocky, like the housing rocks just the slightest bit on there. I think once it heats up, it'll seal. So I'm not going to work a whole lot longer on it. I'll hit it with this file just a little bit more, and then it's time to start making lines and getting the oil drain sorted. That's next. All right, it's in there. It sits pretty good. It tightens up really good once you put the clamps on it. And the exhaust is hooked up. I'm going to drop the turbo in there and start working on everything else. Alright guys, we're getting somewhere with this oil drain. Not in focus though. So I had that steel weld bung and these pieces of stainless steel pipe hanging out in the shop. And one of the fittings I got for the bottom of that turbo uses pipe thread. The drain is going to go in a different location than it did before, so we're going to just do what we can to make it work. Okay, we're getting closer. Oil feed that I guessed on is the right length. Being that this is an NA block, you have to feed it from over here where the oil pressure sensor used to be. And yeah, the new turbo requires a -4 instead of a -3. I think actually Precision recommends a -4, but -3s tend to help them be a little less smoky. Look at that. Look at that. That's exciting. That's down in there. So I'm going to have to make a new line going from the pan up in there. I'm going to really definitely want to put some heat shielding on that so that it doesn't just nuke that and catch on fire and stuff. I got this guy and that guy to go on the compressor outlet. This is a V-band outlet. I am definitely gonna have to chop this dude down, I believe. Yeah, that's probably the direction we're gonna have to go. Chop that down, weld that to it so that it fits in there. And then I guess we need to put the intercooler back in. And we got water lines to make too. So the water lines, I normally have that guy capped off. That's the original feed. Well, it's going to now feed this turbo. It will return back to there. And we're gonna keep the water cooling on the wastegate, but I'm going to just tee it in up here instead of it being directly in. So there will be a water line coming from the bottom through the turbo and then back to here. Well, I'm going to put a little adapter right there where that will just tee into the side of it. So a little less hodgepodge stuff going on there, but I think it will be good. I think fingers crossed, but everything's looking pretty good. All right, so the housing is at work. Just got that phone call. It is just before noon. I'm gonna take a break, go get lunch with my wife, go grab the housing, run around, do a couple things, come back here, and I hope to have this thing running with a new turbo on it today, before I leave. I have to go to Nashville this afternoon. So I'm hoping that I'm close enough now that after making a couple lines, I'm gonna be good to go. We'll see. I mean, it very well could have a massive exhaust leak at the manifold because it should have that little ring in there. But we're gonna try it, and we're gonna try it. Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm feeling pretty good right now, actually. Better than I thought it would be. I'm gonna go get some lunch. All right, guys. So got the feed, the drain is done. See it down in there. Feed's hooked up over here. Changed the line. Moved out this. Gotta put this back here. All right. Keep on trucking. All right. Welded this tight elbow on here. This is the V-band outlet that I got from my ATP turbo, and a little Vibrant cast super tight radius 90. As you can see, it's more than a 90 now because I cut the V-band outlet flange on an angle to get a little bit more wiggle, so it'll face up a little bit. Let's go try this thing in the car. All right, clears the frame rail. Looks all right. I think we can make that work. I guess time to put the intercooler back in, and might do the water lines first though. Water lines will feed both sides of the turbo, return there, get fed from down there. All right, that's next. Water lines. All right, we got water lines. Water line. Water line. Teeing into this water line. Water line down there. Got water lines everywhere. Got lines. She's officially fed. Get the intercooler back in. Clean up some of this mess that I've made. And see what we're gonna have to do to get that to the intercooler. Woo! Still need to pull that pipe off and get it bead rolled, but I had a scrap, and it looks like it's gonna work. Intercooler's sitting back in there, halfway bolted in. but I think we might make it. The exhaust housing, the production final machined exhaust housing is in that box. So now that I've got this all done, I need to basically take it all back apart and put the exhaust housing that is meant for it on it, and then put it all back together and make sure it's tight. Then we can start this thing. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Alright guys, so I kind of screwed up. I got so busy trying to get the car running for Riverside that you guys already know what happened. But yeah, I didn't film anything else. So that's on me. Sorry about that. But you guys know how it turned out. I am going to throw a clip of the testing on the dyno here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it on the dyno. Everything was a bit of a scramble on this, so everything was kind of cut short as far as making sure that I filmed things, because I was scrambling so hard just trying to get the car to actually run. After hustling so hard to get everything ready, I got it together. It ran. Obviously, there needed to be some tuning changes, so we made those changes. We basically left the timing the way that it was, because we knew the timing was safe. So we basically just cleaned up the fueling, and the fueling actually indicated that the turbo spools 500 RPMs sooner. So that's pretty sick. And yeah, so we got the fuel dialed in to where it was nice and safe, and we obviously sent it. It paid off. Eventually I'm going to have Hal definitely tune this. Hal from Dynasty. He's the guy who tuned the car in the first place, and he will be the one who does the final tuning on this new turbo. I do want to get the new manifold built and stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to happen before Grid Life South or now round 3 of Riverside, because we are going to go after that, I think. Try to put a better tire on it. So I did just finish welding the Supra 378 diff for it, and that'll be a separate video rather soon. Baby's still not here. He's coming soon. So basically a week from what you're seeing right now, we are scheduled to, definitely have this baby. So, I mean, we're actually going to be welcoming my new son within the week. So I am super stoked. Yeah. So lots more videos. I have a ton of stuff to edit. Sorry I've been slacking so much on the videos, but you guys are about to get an overload. Hopefully you guys are ready. So I'll definitely see you guys very, very soon. Bye.